everyone, welcome to a new video. I've got something a little bit different this week. I'm sharing with you a haul from IKEA. So recently I went with my hubby Richie to IKEA. It was actually a Mother's Day date or a request from me. I really wanted to get a few new things for my studio. So I'll take you through what I got, and then at the end of this video I'll also point out a few other items and things that I have from IKEA that I've had for a number of years. So my general approach when it comes to my studio and also my home is that I like to have a bit of a mix of old and new. So I have quite a few vintage pieces of furniture, old tables, cabinets and things like that. And I love them for their character, but I also love new things for their functionality. So drawers that are smooth when you pull them, trolleys that actually work, things like that. So IKEA is brilliant for providing affordable and functional furniture, and it's always fun to go there. I love going to IKEA and just walking around, people watching, the whole deal. So let's get straight into what I picked up in this particular trip. So I'll start with some of the smaller items. One thing that I noticed while I was there was that they have some new aprons, and I've been wearing the same painting apron for so long. I thought it might be nice to change things up. So I got this apron, which is actually a really beautiful blue colour and it has a botanical print on it. So I thought that was really lovely. I also picked up some basic containers, and while I use a lot of like baskets and vintage tins and things like that, sometimes it is nice to have a container that you can clean, easily wipe down. And so I picked up a few of these IKEA tubs, and I often put my acrylic paints and things like that in these, or just supplies. I find them quite handy. They're a nice little size. And these tins are good for pencils and things like that. I also picked up a couple of these new, I'm not sure what they actually call them, but they're kind of like a little toiletry bag, and they are lined. They have a bit of a wax lining, and so I thought they could be good for art on the go. So little art kit that you might put together and bring with you when you're traveling. So I picked up a couple of those. So as far as the bigger items, or a bit more of an investment item, I got this lovely lampshade. Now this is purely decorative. This is just because I really love having that sort of slightly boho look in my studio. And right now I just have this ugly light bulb that is stuck in the ceiling, and I thought it would be nice to add just like a hanging lampshade in the corner of the room, maybe put some plants around it and just dress up that area, which is a little bit not so pleasing to the eye. So I got that lampshade, and IKEA does have a lot of really lovely pendant lamps. It also has like other kind of task lights and things like that, which can be useful. To make the lamp work, Richie went hunting for me to find a cord that could be used with the lamp, because the lamp just came as a lampshade. It actually has this really nice lampshade holder, the attachment that goes into the ceiling. It's got this wooden effect, which I thought ties in quite well with some of the other things in my studio. So that came from our local hardware store. And then another thing that I wanted to share with you, and I guess this is not a particularly new thing, many people have these in their studios, but I've never utilised the pegboards from IKEA, and I wanted to have like an area where I could hang things up, particularly things like scissors and tools and stuff like that. And they have the pegboards in different sizes, and as many of you know, I don't have a huge amount of wall space in my studio, so I didn't want to have a huge pegboard. So I was really pleased that they had these quite manageable in size pegboards, and then you can use various things in the pegboard to hold things. Hopefully that makes sense, but this is like a little cup holder that clips into the holes, and you can put pencils. There's also trays that you can use somewhere here, right in front of me. This is a little tray that clips into the pegboard. So that's the pegboard, And then the other thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if these have been in IKEA for ages and I just haven't seen them, but they have these cork boards, which are also a nice small size if you don't have a huge amount of wall space. And I'm all about putting up inspiration, having a mood board, and the previous mood boards that I've had have been quite big, and I just don't have the space in this studio for something quite so large. So these are going to be perfect because I can fit them in smaller spots. You can also combine the pegboard with the cork board and create sort of a section where you have different ways of hanging things up. So I really like this idea of using these simple boards, and I'm pretty sure this was only $10, so super affordable. And then I also picked up some new frames, and I've used many different types of frames from IKEA over the years. They are very good for their price because framing can be very expensive, and I do feel like they give quite a nice modern look to a piece. So I picked up this light kind of wood effect. It's like a light birch style frame, and I really like that sort of fresh modern look. And I have a couple of pieces from other artists that I want to frame and actually put in my office. But I also have, well, I have heaps of paintings of my own that I could frame. I'm just not 100% sure which ones I want to frame and which ones I want to eventually add to my online shop. But I do have these pieces behind me, which are A3 size, so they would fit in the frames. And it's amazing how putting a piece of art in a frame really elevates the work. I also have this beautiful painting from Alexandra Plim, which I really want to put in my office because it's really vibrant yellows and really uplifting. So I may end up using the frame for that one. So they're all the little bits and bobs, but the really exciting part of all of this is that I have some new trolleys. So I picked up 2 kitchen trolleys, and they're in a beautiful wood finish. And Richie very kindly put them together for me. I'll take that as part of my Mother's Day present. But in fairness, he puts together all the flat pack furniture we get because that's definitely not my strength or my desire, I guess. But anyway, super glad he's put them together. I have 2 of them, and I'm planning on using them as a bit of a standing desk as well as storage, as well as potentially using it to put my mixing palette. I don't know, there's many ways you can use trolleys, which is why I'm a big fan of them, but I've never had this kind of kitchen unit type of trolley, which provides more surface area and storage. So I'll show you the trolleys and what I'm thinking. So I have 2 of them, and one of them is just over here freestanding at the moment. And you can see that there's heaps of room for storage in them. And I actually have these crates from IKEA, the little wooden ones. They're really popular. I'll just bring one of them over so you can see. So I have these already, which have heaps of paints in there. And these fit in perfectly, and you can fit 3 along there, so that's going to be very handy. A couple of drawers, which could be good for tools and things. And then the height is beautiful for working as well, so I can either pull it over to my easel or have it near my easel area and use it as an area for having my mixing palette, so something like this. And I can pop that on there, have that easy to access, but then also have room to have water brushes and things like that. Alternatively, I can actually even paint on top of here. Sometimes when I am working on acrylic paintings, I really like to stand up. So I have my table over there where I mostly do sketchbook work sitting down. But sometimes I just want to move my brushes around, have that extra freedom. And what I thought I might do is actually push the 2 trolleys together, which will give me a bit of a square. And then I'll have room for my art piece as well as my palette and paints and things like that. So I think I'll be moving these around quite a bit and seeing where I best like to work and how I like to use them. I have the other one set up over by the window, which is a really nice spot. So I think I'll test that out as well. Now, as far as other IKEA items that I have, I certainly love trolleys, that's for sure. Big fan of those. I know I mentioned them in a previous video, but I have 3 of these metal trolleys, and this one has sketchbooks and paper and stuff in it. And then the 2 over by my table are just super delicious. I really love this setup with my art supplies and all my paints and things close to where I work. Works really well. I also use a lot of the cutlery trays from IKEA. So you'll see them dotted around. These are just from the kitchen section. And I just find that the little compartments are really handy for storing different supplies. So I have that one there, and then I have another one over here, which is even bigger. And I have a big tray here. So I like them. I've had to move them around. Originally I had more supplies over by this window, but what I was finding was that too much sun was coming in. And so to protect my art supplies, it makes more sense to have them on the back wall away from the sun so things don't dry out. Then I have the Alex drawers. These are just so handy to have. And as I said before, like the IKEA drawers, they come out really nice and easy and you can slide them, no problems. Heaps of storage in one of those drawers. And I love the fact that you can fit like nice big pieces of paper. Let me just see, maybe you can sort of see like you can fit like an A3 size in there, no problems, and even bigger. So like very, very handy. I have a stool, like a step-up stool, which is actually quite handy if you want to take a bird's eye view or a flat lay photograph of your work, which I quite often do. I have a little stool. I've also got a painting propped up over on it in the corner over here. So this little stool, they're handy to have. So this shelf is from IKEA too, and these are super handy. They're very affordable, adjustable, don't take up too much space. And I've used them for mostly books at this stage, but at other times I've used them for art supplies and things like that. So I think that's pretty much everything. I probably have a few other IKEA items around the place, but they're the main ones that I use. I hope this video has been interesting, maybe given you a few ideas for your own creative space. As I said before, I will link as much as I can in the description. And I just hope that you enjoy this video and you have a lovely art week.